What up, y'all, and welcome to Chicagoland Speedway for the final race of the 2022 NRSL Jerky Pro Truck Series. On pole for the first time of his Truck Series career is Lane Sanders, who we saw get a pole in the Digital Storm Cup Series a couple weeks ago at Papyrus. He's joined alongside of him in row one, the two-time champion now, Audra Baranauskas, clinching her second title in a row last week at the Springfield Dirt Mile. With her fifth win of the season, will she make it back-to-back wins to end her Truck Series career? We're about to find out. It's going to be a long one tonight. 98 laps of action. I'm joined in the booth by Vince Freeze.
Chicagoland, baby, we're here. The Windy City. The winds have changed, but they still remain the same for Audra Baranauskas' back-to-back championships. And for Sam Young and Donovan Cage, man, great efforts last week. And they continue that top two battle. We'll see who gets second in points. And then the Rookie of the Year is still on the line here. So we got some things to cover, which is nice. And, of course, being in Chicagoland, tire wear is everything. Maybe an early caution. We tend to see that once in a while here. And we expect the veterans to come to the front if they're mired in the traffic.
Let's get to the rest of the starting lineup. Row 2, Jack James and Bradley Ream. Row 3, Mason Dagger and Sam Young. Row 4, Henry Sanford and PJ Vidal. And in row 5, Donovan Cage and Jessica Strauss. Jerky Pro Truck Series has come here 3 times before. 2017, Jonathan Zorlin got it done in a Chevy. 2020, we came back for the first time in a few years. Delon Ibrahimian got the win in a Ford. And last year was another Chevrolet driver getting the W. That was Nate Rogers in the 9. You see some drivers starting near the rear of the field. Gene Sanford, one of them. Scott Roush in that Rookie of the Year battle with PJ Vidal. He's got 15 points over Vidal. So Roush starting in 40th. And where is the 37? He is near the front, I believe. Yes, he is. He is starting in 8th. So if you ended the race off of qualifying, Vince, it would go to PJ Vidal. But we have a 98-lap race ahead of us. Cloudy 45-degree weather means I think we're going to see these trucks go faster than they usually have in past seasons. And they're going to be using more fuel because of that. I want to say fuel window tonight going to be maybe 28 to 31. I'm thinking it's a definite 3-stopper, and the strategy is going to be fun, as it usually is in years past. Tire wear, as always, should be up 2.5, 3 seconds. Let's go trackside for the command to fire these motors.
Drivers, start your engines!
All right, Vince, so what are you thinking here? Undercut or overcut? We know in the truck series, you can overcut if you're the first or second truck, and you overcut and you can stay in draft, you're golden. So what do you want to do here? Does it depend where you are in the pack?
Yeah, it depends. Tonight depends. We're getting a little longer race here than usual. We're not, usually this race is like 66, 67. We're getting almost 100 laps in tonight. I think because of that, I would expect people to be a little bit more conservative, maybe just follow the leader 1 or 2 laps. But the second stop, I think, is where you could try that overcut strategy. And do we dare see someone try it to go really long, and maybe that last stop of the night, 2 tires? It's risky, but we have seen that in the past, and it is possible. It just will become a track position race. I don't know. The draft will be big in these first couple laps, so track position probably won't matter. And Lane Sanders on pole, I mean, that's anything can go on that inside line, too. We'll find out here in 98 laps notice. The pace car comes off, buddy. For the last time the Jerky Pro Truck Series season, take us green.
Coming to the green flag, it's a Chevy front row. Chevy with 2 wins here in the Jerky Pro Truck Series. Can they get a third? Green flag is out, and we're underway. Lane will clear Audra off turn 2, but what we're going to see a lot tonight is that outside line is going to get the runs, going to get the grip. There you can see it with Audra in turn 3. over Jack James. So you're going to want to be on the top side here when everybody's got the same tires. But if we can go green, we can get the strategy playing out, that's when you'll start to see people be able to make moves on the inside line. But right now, you're going to want to rip that top.
Lane's interesting with the lack of experience, though, here tonight. I think he'll be okay. The tires are fresh. It's just when we get to lap 10, 15, we'll see what he can do. As he's definitely starting to lose it a little bit right now as we speak.
Well, you can see the experience difference. He's getting tight there in the middle of the corner. Audra and Jack James are all over him. James is going to send it on Audra for second, but there you can see just can't get it to plant on the inside line right now. And Audra continuing to get the run. She's going to make a move on Lane here down the curved back straightaway.
Audra should be able to have the momentum now. If she can full send it into one, I don't think she'll have the draft help. Could be able to get the lead, but Jack James will go with it.
Lane's still the leader there at the start-finish line. Here comes Mason Dagger in 4th place. Now Bradley Ream and Sam Young closing the distance as well. There you see the run down the straightaway by Lane off the corner. This is bunching up the front runners. Sam Young up to 5th place.
Lane got a little tight, but he's still going to use a little side drive, just barely. But I think Audra took care of it.
Yep. Audra Baranauskas now clear. Lane will go back to the inside line with help from Jack James, but not going to be able to get there. There you can really see the difference with Audra on the outside line.
Looking young. He's definitely been one of those hard chargers at the front. And Penske's been really good here. They've definitely got speed at this place. The setup. But Lane is starting to check up into 3 and 4.
And Sam Young up here in the top 5. You can see his competition for second in the points right behind them. Henry Sanford and Donovan Cage coming into this race. Cage with a 3-point advantage over Young and a 28 advantage over Henry Sanford. So we saw Audra was able to make the inside pass work, Vince. It just took some time. And you kind of need that experience difference to be there in order to make those passes. It's going to be harder to pass the more experienced drivers. But you see, because of the draft of these vehicles, Audra is unable to pull away.
Give him props. I mean, he lost the lead, but he's hanging right in there and saving a little tire, learning from one of the best, if not the best, in this series.
James in 3rd, Young in 4th, Ibrahimian 5th to the inside of Dagger. Donovan Cage on the inside of Ream for 7th. Got Henry Sanford and Will Parrish right behind. Let's go through the running order. Vince, it looks like we might stay green this year. We're already on lap 8. Got Brad Lewis in 11th, Chris White 12th. Yael Carrillo 13th, now going by PJ Vidal, who is falling down the running order. He'll get put in the middle 3 wide. Anderson to his outside. Pat Johnson to the inside. Got Owen Miles, DeLello, Jessica Strauss, Benjamin Ice, Jack Holton just inside the top 20. Daniel Brown right there. Hayes Green. Lane Saylor. Ron Bishop, Roy Ribbleton struggling here tonight. Brandon Mayhew, Billy Kidd, Lucas Catano is back here in the dump. Scott Roush starting to move forward as Vidal goes backwards. Let's see, this time by at the start-finish line, Roush 29th place, Vidal 20th. So a 6-point advantage right now for Roush on that Rookie of the Year battle. And Catano is not having a good night. Jean Sanford's been moving forward slowly. She pulled a pretty cool strategy here. I want to say it was last year. Didn't work out. Didn't get her the W. Hunter Braxton, Enzo Nareza here at the back of the field. And then you got Mitchell Collins, the last notable driver, bringing up the rear. As now Sam Young and Delon Ibrahimian, they've made it by Jack James. And now they're looking to get by Lane Sanders so they can challenge Baranauskas for the race lead. And right behind them, charging forward, is Donovan Cage, the intermediate master.
wide back there. Penske, as I said earlier, seemed to have something figured out. But Audra, I don't know, man. I think she's just going to save her tires here. I don't think there needs to be a big play on it right now.
Young will get by Lane. Seeing Brad Lewis up into the top 10. He's up to 9th. Now looking for 8th on Bradley Ream, as Henry Sanford has fallen out of the top 10. Lewis will take 8th place away from the 98. Lewis comes into this race 14th in the points. A bit of a late surge here in the season. He's been moving up the standings pretty quickly. Ibrahimian gets by Lane next. Already on the 13th lap of the race, seeing a second of fall off from the front runners. Fastest lap belongs to Sam Young, a 29.841. Dagger, Anderson, and Jack James also all under a 29.9. Audra fastest at a 9.35. Brad Lewis is up there with a 9.12, Vince. I mean, he's got a fast truck under him here tonight.
Hooked up with the corner. He's getting all his time in the corners, and that's big. As now you see Lane starting to slip, like we said, to lap 10, 15. That's big for Brad. If he can stay in this main pack, maybe play a little strategy game, maybe he can get a surprise win. We'll find out.
Donovan Cage on the outside of Lane looking to take 5th place. So you look at this top 5. All of these drivers, aside from Audra, coming back in Jerky Pro full-time next year. Going to have quite the championship battle, I believe.
Yeah, another year of experience always makes things a little bit more interesting. Than Sam Young, I think he's going to pull a move, but I think he'll get blocked a little bit.
Yeah, and Lane is now the roadblock, as the leaders are running different lines down the back straightaway. That's going to let Ibrahimian get to the outside of Young. I see Young clears him off of 4. Top 5 starting to pull away as Dagger gets by Sanders. But Dagger and Lane are both holding up Lewis on back. So Lewis will pull to the inside of Sanders.
You got to think rookie. We say rookie, but we're at the end of the season. They've been through the ringer here. I think they're understanding a little bit how to do 1.5 mile intermediate. We don't have many in the truck series, but as you get better and more wiser, you understand the race.
Henry Sanford back into the top 10, kicking out Will Parrish. Is now Henry starting to make gains. Maybe perhaps he was saving his stuff a little bit. He's on the inside of Ream for 9th place. Dagger getting by Sanders for 6th, as now Lewis is trying to get by them. These are the last 2 in the way. The top 5 are nose to tail. I think how these top 5 play out their strategies here tonight, Vince, will determine which of them win the race, because they all look pretty fast to me.
Subtle differences, maybe 100th there, a 10th at most, losing between the top 5 Cage looks underneath 4th.
The slowest driver on the lap chart is Cage with a 30.105, but I think that's because Cage was using the outside line to move forward. Staying in this main draft is going to be very important.
Oh, yeah. And now Cage is back to his 2nd. And believe it or not, that's when you scroll through the leaderboard. I think Dagger, believe it or not, is starting to just stabilize around 2 seconds. So Brad Lewis definitely needs to get around here soon.
Lewis will get by the 31. Ream and Henry Sanford looking to be next. We'll go through the field one more time before pit stops. See Benjamin Ice up to 14th place. DeLello behind in 15th. Carrillo just inside the top 20 as Parrish starts to go backwards. And Scott Roush, man, he has made it ahead of PJ Vidal. And he's been driving forward towards the top 20. Meanwhile, Lucas Catano has gone nowhere. He is still stuck here back outside the top 30, as is Gene Sanford. As you start to see a gap of the rookies back here, Winnie Calhoun, Hunter Braxton, Roger James, Mitchell Collins is stuck here back with these guys, Morris Reeves and Cody Magarick. With the long race, I'm curious if we might see lap traffic here in the Jerky Pro Truck Series. It's not something we commonly see. If you look at race leader Audra, her last lap, a 31.8. Magarick, a 32.2. As Jack James and Donovan Cage, man, they are starting to fade away here, and I think James might be holding up the 6.
Yeah, I think it's a good time for Jack James to maybe pull the undercut strategy, as you see Sam Young get a little different line, as Audra will go low for the shortest distance, as Sam goes high for the momentum.
Side by side down the back straightaway. Young looking to make the pass on the outside line. Can't quite get there. Audra holds him off. They fall back in line, single file, and Cage keeps trying to make a move off of turn 4. It is not working out. 2 seconds of fall off here now for the front runners. See 183 about into turn 3, down to 150.
I think that's Brad Lewis looking. He's still trying to get around Dagger. There's a battle for second between teammates.
See, Audra keeps protecting the bottom, which is such a strange thing to see at an intermediate of all things. But she's protecting the bottom down the back straightaway. Young keeps trying to use momentum going up to the wall. But Audra's truck just seems to be that little bit better in the corner, even when Sam Young is to her outside.
Yeah, that's Audra's good move, though. This place has really no straight lines. It's pretty curved. Going on the inside protects your left sides a little bit, saves a little tire and mechanical grip. I think that's what she's doing, really, just to save those tires and have a little turn in.
See Ibrahimian get right to the inside of Sam Young, looking for second place. They are even through 3 and 4. Cage and James, man, they've stabilized. They're not losing touch anymore. They're actually closing back up right now. But Cage has still been unable to get by the 13, and he's been glued to his bumper this entire run.
Wake as the trucks battle side by side. You see Ibrahimian lost a lot there, and now I think we're starting to get to that point. Do we start considering that 3-stopper and undercut?
Brad Lewis on the outside of Dagger trying to get 6th place. Max Anderson has cracked the top 10. He's up to 8th now, getting by Lane Sanders as Owen Miles is closing in on a top 10 spot. And Anderson's going to make it 3 wide for 6th.
Anderson has struggled hard this season, just trying to get one last good result.
And he comes into this race 38th in the points. He's been making some slow gains, but Anderson's got the 1 top 5 on the entire race, and that is it, as pit stops have begun, and the entire top 5 minus Ibrahimian bring it down to pit road. Lane Sanders in, Billy Kidd, PJ Vidal with the undercut strat on that Rookie of the Year battle.
I will say, man, we have a really wide range from lap 29 to lap 35. If someone can stay out to lap 35, 2 tires could be the call in that last stop.
Yeah, lap 28 on the first group there. Lap 29 here. Owen Miles will stay out with Henry Sanford. A lot of people coming down in this second group, but Ibrahimian and Anderson get a clean entrance. Everybody else is going to stack up. Look at, see Scott Roush stacked up back there. That's what PJ Vidal needed. That's why he pit on that first group. Let's see. Better question is who stayed out here from this last few drivers. Morris Reeves, Winnie Calhoun, and Hunter Braxton, who are all at the back with Lucas Catano, Enzo Nareza, Austin Tyler, Mayhew, Ron Bishop, and then Owen Miles and Henry Sanford lead them in. So it's going to be interesting to see how this works out. We know the 23 and the 87, they were right at the back of the top 10, outside the top 10. They just don't want to have any pit road contact here. That's where things can get sketchy. See Mitchell Collins waiting for Miles to pit so he can leave.
You would think Audra with that undercut stretch should be able to hold and retain the lead here.
And Audra is showing as the race leader. There she goes. Sam Young in second place. Donovan Cage third. And Ibrahimian actually came out in ahead of Jack James. That's how important it is to be one of the first 2 or 3 trucks of your group to pit. Ibrahimian waited a lap and he got in front of Jack James, or stayed in front of Jack James, rather. Billy Kidd is 6th. Lane Sanders 7th. Anderson 8th. Ream 9th. Vidal up to 10th place on the undercut strat. There you see Owen Miles, highest of the drivers who stayed out the longest there. He is just outside the top 10 here. Running in 11th place.
Ooh.
See Henry Sanford also with fresh tires and Ron Bishop, but Henry not with a good pit stop compared to the 23. Scott Roush all the way down to 27th, so advantage Rookie of the Year battle to the 37. Catano still 28th, so he didn't lose anything from staying out there, so we'll have to see what he can do having the freshest tires on the track now. Same goes for Braxton and some of these other drivers who stayed out the longest. But everybody is still chasing this 21 truck of Baranauskas. Sam Young is not closing. He's not in draft, but Donovan Cage is. So we'll have to see if these two can work together to try and close up to Audra, fight for this race win. You know, it's going to be hard for Ibrahimian to make inroads. He's going to need to get in front of the 13 and then be pushed using the draft to gain the 3 seconds he lost. So far, they are not really going anywhere, but great run by Billy Kidd. Vince here got a rookie in the top 10 alongside Lane Sanders and PJ Vidal. As you see right now, the difference from Miles to Vidal, which is a 2-lap pit difference, is almost 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, and these crew chiefs know that this race could be won and lost by pit road now. We have, what, 9 seconds almost between 1st and 10th. It's hard to get 9 seconds on the track, even with fresh tires. The top 3, I think, are seeming to have the best. Jack James and Ibrahim got to do something different on strategy next time around.
Great run for ThorSport here today, or tonight rather, Vince. Got Ream in 9th, Anderson in 8th, and Jack James in 4th. It's looking like Ibrahimian is ready to go. He's going to go to the inside of the 13 here. See if he can use that tire difference to his advantage. He's able to hold even. Up ahead, Donovan Cage is looking for second on Sam Young. And James is able to hold off the 22.
I'm curious, though, you did talk about the lap truck situation. I don't know if we're going to see. I think we could at the end of the race. But it seems like right now we'll have to look at the spread between first to last.
Fastest lap on the race now belongs to Enzo Nareza, a 29.635. Catano is second on that chart now with a 7.17. That's some pretty big draft lap with the fresh tires, I'd have to say. Sam Young, third on the chart. Donovan Cage running a 9.45. Audra only 16th on the chart with a 9:35, but that is because she has been leading this entire race. To your point, Vince, Mitchell Collins is the first one up. He is only a 10th slower than Audra right now. Roger James, 5 seconds ahead of him, is 2/10 off. And then everyone else is up here in the draft. Now we see Lucas Catano starting to use draft, trying to move forward. He's up to 27th now. It's a good amount of positions he can gain here. All the way up to 16th and then maybe more. As Vidal falls out of the top 10, move Owen Miles up to 10th. And now Miles just has to hope that there's somebody back here, somebody up here rather, with him that can keep up enough to draft him up towards the front and continue their move towards maybe a better finish. As Ream has gotten by Anderson for 8th. He's all over the bumper of Sanders. As Ibrahimian has made it by the 13 finally, but they lost another second doing so. And meanwhile, Cage and Sam Young, they're battling it out for second, and they've lost 7/10 to Audra.
Yeah, and Audra's starting to get a little draft with Mitch Collins. Not much, but just a little bit at the end of the backstretch could be enough to start pulling away. Just a little bit, in front too.
These two just keep battling it out. They really need to be working together here. Not doing themselves any favors. Now a 2-second lead for the 21.
These guys are previewing 2023 for us early. This could be a sight we see next season as well.
But, you know, I guess I kind of understand the battle here for second, Vince, because while they want to win, they want to be second in the point standings. You know, they want to be that, I guess you could say, be the favorite considered going into next year. Even though Sam Young, man, he's won so many more races than the 6 this year. You know, 4 wins for Young, 2 wins for Cage. 5 poles for Young, 0 for Donovan. This whole year, he didn't get a single pole. But it's going to come down to this position right here because it's a 3-point difference coming into the race. And the difference from second to third is 4 points. Young would get the tiebreaker with the wins if they somehow tied. But this position is important, so I think, you know, they are more focused on this, and we'll have to see how the strategy plays out as Audra's running a quicker line around the track. Maybe trying to save a little fuel doing that, Vince.
Fuel and tire, yep, absolutely. Let me see the gap here. I think it's about 2/10 up, I think, here on this lap, if not more.
And you see they're barely getting anything when they are in the draft working with one another. Ibrahimian is going nowhere. He's got no help. Might have some help here soon, though, from the 98 of Ream. He's been dicing his way through the field. He's up to 7th, looking for what'll be, or up to 6th, rather, looking for 5th on the 13. So Ream will fly by. We'll see if he can help Ibrahimian at all, or he might just go right by him. Meanwhile, Owen Miles has driven away from the pack outside of the top 10. Henry Sanford has been unable to do anything with his fresher tires. Vince, he's fallen to 23rd. It's Lucas Catano up to 25th and making some big moves trying to move forward.
Yeah, the key for him will be just have to get stacked up if they all come in on this next stop.
PJ Vidal, 12th at the line. Just 1 point ahead of Roush on the Rookie of the Year battle right now. He's tailing teammate Mason Dagger, who sits in 11th. Battle is on for 4th place between Ibrahimian and Reem. So we are about 10 laps away from the next pit window.
Yeah, man, I think they're still battling. You know what? If they stay in line here, if I'm Ibrahimian, Reem, James, they might catch 2nd place. They keep dicing it up. It's all about that pride and ego thing for that 2nd in points.
Seeing Audra is now losing time to the 14, so Collins is pulling away. He pit a lap later, and he's about to get lapped, so it's a borderline 2-lap difference. This man Cage just still continues to work on getting by Sam Young.
Definitely closing the gap back there. And if you're Cage here, I think it's track position. You want to be the leader of this group entering pit road to get enough
Wow.
of an entry.
Look at that pass, Vince. He finally got it done, and I think we saw Cage struggle to get by the 13 during the last run, and now he finally gets by Young. Now, what can he do here? Can he start to drive away? And, what kind of pit strategy change will occur here? As these two have been in draft the whole time, Audra has been by herself. Have to think that's going to maybe put Audra pitting a lap ahead of them, potentially.
Possibly, but we did talk about earlier in the race that low line down the backstretch, maybe just saving a little fuel.
How about this, Vince? Donovan had the full lap in front of Young, running the bottom. He gained the 10th.
Good note right there, especially on this next run.
Meanwhile, Ibrahimian and Reem, they've been actually working together. I mean, it looks like Reem has the pace to pass him, but he's just been pushing him in the draft. Meanwhile, Owen Miles, he's caught up to this group. He's up to 9th now over Anderson. Meanwhile, now PJ Vidal is being eaten alive by this pack. Down to 16th. That gives the Rookie of the Year back to Scott Roush. Well, that time by Audra put the burners back on and gained 2/10 over Cage. And continuing the gain.
2 to 3 laps, man, we're going to start seeing those pit stops. This could be a big round cycle for these pit crews.
Saw people pit lap 28. Wondering if Audra, since she's been by herself, we'll see her come in maybe 56, maybe 55 this next time by. But I think the battle there for 2nd on down is going to get dicey with this tire wear, the different strategies. Miles up to 8th on the leaderboard. Audra will go one more lap. Nobody thinking of undercutting behind her. Miles will get it up to 6th.
Impressive run by him today for sure.
So, we talked about it, Vince. Overcutting at the speedway seems to always be the way to go because you just can use the draft to your advantage. Miles was just outside the top 10 when pit stop cycle began, and now he is in 6th place. Young continuing the challenge. Cage as Audra will indeed be the first one to pit here on lap 56. And was my prediction correct? Yes, nobody pits behind her. That's going to put her alone on the undercut strategy as the earliest you can pit. We'll have to see what that does for her tire selection. If she takes 2 tires or 4 on her 3rd pit stop, that 3rd pit stop would come on lap 84. Cage and Young pit next. Ibrahimian and Ream stay out. Nobody else in behind these two.
Interesting. I think it could be a cycle. We could be seeing a true cycle stop where we see little groups instead of a big pack, and there's Mitch Collins.
Mitchell Collins will pit by himself, hoping to gain some time back. Ibrahimian's going to go another lap, but Bradley Ream will bring it to pit road.
Miles stays out.
And here come everybody else. Jack James, Billy Kidd, Lane Sanders, Dagger, Vidal, Brad Lewis, Hayes Green, Cody Magarick.
Gotta be careful here with Mitch Collins exiting.
Roger James is going to pit. Audra's back out on track. That'll make things a little hairy. Ibrahimian will bring it down this time by. Miles behind him. So Ibrahimian stretches himself out to the same strategy as the 23. Lap 59 pit. Still more drivers staying out as Anderson, Bishop, Ice, and the whole field about coming in. And we see Roush get held up once again. That's important to note for the Rookie of the Year battle. Enzo Nareza is the race leader. He elects to stay out here to lap 60. And he will bring it down to pit road. Lucas Catano coming with him. Austin Tyler, Brandon Mayhew, Joshua Johnson, Will Parrish, Hunter Braxton. So 3 of the Bulldog trucks stayed out here the longest. And that is everybody. So Audra back to the lead. Cage and Young still second and third. Ream will be up to 4th. Ibrahimian will, I believe, get out in front of Billy Kidd here for 5th. Billy Kidd with a great night, by the way, Vince, man. Running top 10 this whole time. He's in 6th. Miles will get out in 7th. Jack James falls to 8th. And then it's Anderson and Dagger 9th and 10th. Fidel 11th. Bishop 12th. Actually, we've still got a cycle pitting here.
Yep.
Audra is gone, though, Vince. She's got a 6-second lead over Cage and Young. As Young will look to take 2nd place back. Young will get it into the corner. So top 10 was legit. Dagger and Vidal, the last 2 inside the top 10. Then it's Bishop and Anderson. Brad Lewis, 13th. Nareza with a pretty good net gain staying out there. He's 14th, Vince. Sanders down to 15th. Chris White, Christian Russell, Pat Johnson, DeLello, Brown, the top 20. Henry Sanford, 21st man. Catano moving forward still slowly, little by little, 23rd. Ice down to 25th. Gene Sanford, 26th. Carrillo, 29th. Roush is in 30th. Will Parrish, man, he plummeted. He's 36th now. And here it is, Audra. She's got Roger James 1 lap down, and now she is starting to work on lap traffic.
I don't know if that's going to do anything, man. 6.5, almost 7 seconds now. It's just hard to make up, especially on a place like this. But I will say Audra does have one thing that she'll have to worry about is if someone takes 2 tires. That's the only thing that can really throw a wrench into the plans. Otherwise, it's looking like smooth sailing.
And if anyone were to take 2 tires, Vince, it would have to be the 29 or the 6. Because right now, they're the only ones who would really be able to have a chance to gain that time by that call. Everyone else is 11 seconds or more behind. All those drivers need to really start whittling away at her lead. But now she's got draft off the lap truck, so going to be difficult to make any inroads now, I believe.
start stalling out in front now. Well, they got trapped to with James.
Big gap back from second and third to the 98. Miles with a bumper full of Jack James. 32 laps to go, this time by at the start-finish line.
I mean, very risky, but the window by lap 70 would be open. Someone could take a risk, but at this point, it's pretty much you're locked into what you've got, I think.
Vidal up to 9th. Heated battle here to get into the top 10. The Reza man with that strategy. And fastest on the track, man. What a call by that team. I think he was running just outside the top 20. Gained spots by staying out. And now he's got fresh tires moving through the field. The Reza started the year off with the win at Daytona for his first career win. Now he's looking to end the year with a top 10. Comes into this race 11th in the points. 1 win, 3 top 5s, and 6 top 10s on the season. Average finish at 18.47. Not a bad sophomore season for Nereza Vince. All things considering the amount of rookies in the field this year. But we've seen how Max Anderson has struggled this year. How Bradley Ream has struggled this year. Being a veteran this year, it wasn't a guaranteed success.
You got to think about Enzo Nereza, man, too. He started it off the right way at Daytona, and we were having some voodoo stuff at the beginning with him and Cage winning, but not bad for a season. Just anytime you win at Daytona, it's definitely cemented.
Well, speaking of race winners, we see Miles trying to get up to 6th there. Let's go up to our champion, Audra Baranauskas here with 28 to go. Looking to get her 6th win of the season, 12th of her career. It would be her 10th top 5 on the season and 11th top 10. She'd be the only driver to get 10 top 5s this whole season. Most top 10s out of any driver coming in. Jack James and Sam Young with a chance to join her. Geez, I can't talk. In the double digits for top 10s. They came into this race with 9 apiece. But number of different winners this year. Looking at 4 winners in the top 5. Henry Sanford, the only driver without a win, top 5 in points. Then Benjamin Ice and Lucas Catano coming into the night, also without wins at top 10 in points. So that's 7 drivers with a win, top 10 in the standings. Nereza just outside in 11th. He came in 5 points behind Catano and Vidal. So maybe pit strategy, trying to get himself top 10 in the points to end the season. And then the only other winner, the 9th different winner on the year, Hayes Green, 27th in the standings. And Green with only 1 top 10 outside of that win back at Pukekohe.
Yeah, I just looked at the sheet, man. 12 wins if Audra caps it off tonight, or any of the big 3 behind her, Young and Cage. That's 66% of the season. That's pretty good odds right there.
Well, not 12 wins on the season, just 6 wins on the season.
No, I'm talking about 12 between the big 3 of...
Oh, okay. You were talking about the big 3 on the standings. Okay. Yeah, no, that's crazy, right? Like, and even if you just looked at Audra and Young alone, that would be over half the races. Young with 4 wins, Audra would be looking at 6. But, you know, then you look at what we've got for a battle on the record sheet. Cage would sit at 8 wins going into the new year. Only a 15-race season, so it's going to be hard to really make inroads unless you win 4 or 5 races. Sam Young is next highest with 4 wins. Henry Sanford leaving, sits at 3. Then that gives us a handful of drivers at 2 wins apiece, including some drivers that are making a return to the series. We haven't really talked about silly season at the end of this year. Adam Flickinger is going to make a return. He'll be driving the number 2 for GMS Racing. He's got 2 career wins to his name. Ibrahimian, of course, coming back. He's got 2 wins. Jack James, 2 wins. And then James Ellison is going to make a return to Jerky Pro. He'll be driving the number 9 for Junior Motorsports. Yael Carrillo is not coming back. So then those are all our drivers with multiple wins. And then we've got a ton of drivers with 1 win apiece. See if I can find. We got Brad Lewis, Enzo Nareza, Hayes Green if he finds a ride. Lucas Catano, Max Anderson, PJ Vidal if he finds a ride. And not sure what Will Parrish is doing, if he's going to go back up the Cup or if he's going to stay in trucks for another year. Scott Roush is going to be going back to Cup alongside Lane Sanders. So, Vince, that's our looking at the win chart thing. 20 laps to go. Young has closed the gap. It's down to 5.6 seconds, but you just got to think there's not enough time here.
No, unless there's a 2-tire call, I think Young has definitely pulled Cage. Cage is a little slow there.
He's just running that lower line. Makes it look like they're going slow. Ibrahimian back up to 4th over Ream. James is 6th. Miles 7th. Kidd 8th. And then Ron Bishop and Nareza are battling it out for 9th. Max Anderson right behind them. PJ Vidal in 12th. Scott Roush is currently 31st. This last pit stop's really going to decide that Rookie of the Year battle. Brad Lewis has been top 15 all night. Pat Johnson's made it up here. Lucas Catano, Vince, he's finally into the top 20 and looking for 15th on Chris White. Meanwhile, Dagger has gone down the running order a little bit. Henry Sanford, man, I'm not sure what they did on that first pit stop, but whatever they did, it has ruined his truck. As pit stops early, Cage and Sam Young are in on lap 81.
That's a big play right there. Audra stayed out, and look at Ibrahimian. He's now under 10 seconds. Those tires are falling off for Audra. You can see it.
4-tire stop for Cage and Sam Young. I see Bradley Ream pitting.
Wow.
Jack James is in. I think we saw something like this in the Cup race last year. Lane Sanders will pit. Oh, this is going to really shuffle things.
Yeah, we might have. I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but you got to think back to Texas. We had a late caution with the tire differences. That's something to think about now.
Audra's still staying out. That's going to be 2 laps staying out. That's about 2 seconds lost per lap. She can't stay out much longer. Billy Kidd's going to pit. Max Anderson, PJ Vidal's in. Pat Johnson pit. I didn't see anybody in the wall. I think they were just really close, trying to give space. Austin Tyler, Hayes Green, all coming in. So far, everybody's taking 4 tires. Audra's coming in.
Little traffic, not much.
Ibrahimian will pit. Catano stays out. Nareza is in. Miles is in. Bishop is in. There's Young and Cage. And a lot of people coming in behind. Everybody pulling the trigger now after seeing people undercut it by... Well, actually, we are on the strategy bubble right here, actually, Vince. Lap 84. This was the lap to come in. But Young and Cage pulled the trigger a few laps early.
Stay on Audra, see if she has a clean exit, and I think she does. We're good.
Yep. But there's Young and Cage. Katana will
Oh.
pit. I'm not sure who the leader is right now.
I think it's going to be Sam Young if he can get up to speed.
I meant by drivers staying out leader.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
I have no idea. I'm going to go find Audra because I want to see. She is still in the lead here. I think Young and Cage needed her to stay out one more lap and then pit, and they would have been right in front of her.
Yeah, now she has the freshest tires. It should be going the opposite direction compared to that last run, gaining time.
Parrish stayed out. Has he pit yet? Yep, he pit. So we'll have to see what our running order is now, with what'll be 13 laps to go. Leads down the 1 second, but Audra's got 2 laps on those guys. So Young second, Cage third, Ream fourth, James fifth, Ibrahimium sixth, Billy Kidd seventh, Nareza eighth, Anderson ninth, and Owen Miles the top 10. Pat Johnson 11th, Vidal in 12th.
Looking for, let's see.
Scott Roush is in 30th. So Roush would need to be, let's see what the tiebreaker is. Roush and Vidal both have wins on the year. They both have 2 top 5s on the year. But Roush has 6 top 10s to Vidal's 4. So if Vidal were to stay in 12th, Roush needs to get up to 27th to get Rookie of the Year on a tiebreaker. But gonna need to draft up to Sailor and these other drivers up here. Gonna be close. Probably got a better chance of Vidal losing track position. Would need Vidal to fall down to 15th. And yeah, you can see the tire difference, Vince, at the front of the field. Donovan Cage is already running 30.2s. Audra just ran her fastest lap of the race, second on the chart at 683.
With draft.
Using that draft to her advantage. Pulling away from Sam Young. We haven't seen anybody go back-to-back the whole year, Vince. In Jerky Pro, we've seen only Allison Rain win back-to-back in the Cup Series this year. It has been hard to win 2 races in a row, and Audra's looking to do it on her way out of the Truck Series.
Compliment to the chef, man. That's you. You made this schedule, and I gotta say the schedule was very diverse this year, and because of that, there really wasn't a lot of intermediates to where you could just back to back your way into a win. Audra goes low, so big praise to you going your way.
Yeah, well, when you look at the schedule, it went Daytona, Atlanta, Auto Club, Willow Springs, Denver, then Richmond, Martinsville, Pensacola, Dodge Motordrome, Pukekohe, Memphis, Kansas, Bristol, Dirt, Oswego, Papyrus, Vegas, Springfield, Chicagoland now. What a schedule it was. A different schedule on the menu next year for a 15-race season. And Atlanta Motor Speedway is the new destination of the finale. Been changing that every 2 years. We did Homestead, then we did Texas, and then we did Chicagoland. Chicagoland was a great finale host, in my opinion. But it's time to move on to another track and keeping it in the intermediate family. Atlanta has given us great races lately, so it is next up on the list.
Yeah, and I think Atlanta always provides the same races. It's just nice tire wear. A little draft at the beginning, but once we get past that draft, similar to this, just a little more enhanced.
And recent years, that running any line you can at Atlanta has really made it quite the entertaining racetrack, especially in Jerky Pro. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of finales we get at Atlanta next year, but there's still a full season of races to go too. We still got one more Cup race this year, but it's been a great truck race finale here. Audra looks like she has it, barring any unforeseen issues. Sam Young is 2.5 seconds ahead of Donovan Cage, so Sam is looking like he will lock up second in the points. Meanwhile, Vidal still in 12th, Roush still 30th.
Going through here.
Battle for 5th between Ibrahimian and Jack James. So it doesn't look like Ibrahimian will get it back up to Bradley Ream. Billy Kid by himself 7th. Nereza is 8th. And then battle for the last spot in the top 10 is on. Miles holds 9th, but Pat Johnson is all over Max Anderson.
Yeah, pretty impressive there by a lot of these rookies this year. Pat, Vidal, Roush, Lane even. They were showing the play for sure. Hayes Green got a win. Cool.
And I don't think Vidal will fall to 15th because Catano is way back here. He is closing, though. How about Roush? Has Roush got a single shred of chance? Oh, he's up to 29th. He could get up to 27th here. Ain't over yet. 2 laps to go. But Reeves is going to put a move on him. Roush will hold on. Catano closing the gap for a last-ditch charge. Miles all over Nereza for 8th. Oh, and Ibrahimian might have a chance at Ream after all. But last lap, all eyes are on Audra Baranauskas, 2-time Jerky Pro Truck Series champion, 12-time race winner.
What can you say, man? Rookie of the Year in Cup this year. One of the best to ever do in the Truck Series. Salute AB21.
Sam Young, 2nd. Cage, 3rd. Ream holds off Ibrahimian for 4th. Then it's Jack James, 6th. Billy Kid, 7th. Nereza, 8th. Miles, 9th. Anderson, 10th. Vidal will come home in 12th. Scott Roush, 29th. So Rookie of the Year goes to PJ Vidal. What a race here tonight. Caution free. Strategy City. That's going to end our Jerky Pro Truck Series coverage for the year. Might be a little bit of a different format next year. So, Vince, if this was your last Jerky Pro Truck race with me, I just want to thank you for the last 2.5 seasons dating back to 2020, that first race at Springfield. It's been a blast in the Jerky Pro Truck Series, and I know we got the Cup race tomorrow, but I just wanted to thank you for Jerky Pro because this is where it all started.
Yeah, man, it's been a pleasure. I want to say thank you to the fans. Thank you to everyone watching on YouTube and supporting it in DMs and whatnot. It means a lot. And if this was it for the Truck Series, I guess I don't usually do this for the Truck Series, but if this was it, one last signing off.
See you guys tomorrow night.